It's 4 p.m. As a tradition, Dr. Akas is going to kick us off and then start this meeting and talk exciting things that are happening and what opportunities you have here. Dr. Akas?
Thank you so much, Dr. Davidoff. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. My name is Todd Akas, and I'm over the area of development at Rio Salado College. So I handle alumni relations, resource development, I handle scholarships. So we're here to tell you that there's something that we're here to do to kind of fun it up for everybody. We're going to have a gift card drawing for attendees that participate in all 4 sessions, include their valid Maricopa email address, their name, and we'll get your student ID, but you have to attend all 4 events to be eligible. We're going to do a drawing and we're going to have gift cards at the end of the session. So I just want to thank you all for being here. From the Alumni Association, as students and alumni, we value all of our people that attend with and participate with the college. So if there's anything we can do for you, I can be reached, and I'll put my email address in the chat at todd.akas@riosalado.edu, and I'd be happy to help you with anything: scholarships, opportunities, visits to the college, knowing more about the Alumni Association. Lily and I, Dr. Davidoff, work closely together. So if there's anything I can help you with, please reach out to me. I'm here to help and looking forward to it. And enjoy the session. The Enrolled Agent is a great program. I've been loving it ever since I learned about it. And it's I made the mistake last time of calling it a micro-credential. It's an academic term, but it's a very important job. Boy, there's lots of good opportunity out there. So enjoy this session. I know it's going to be exciting. I'm sorry I can't be here tonight. I'll be in the next session though. Thank you very much. See you next week. Take care.
Hi, Dr. Akas, thank you so much. So again, to reiterate for those that just joined us, we had a few more people jumping in on the call. Please put your email address in the Q&A. I also shared a video recording from the first event in the chat. So if you need that, please go ahead and download it. But if you want the flyer or have any questions, you're welcome to email me. It's lily.davidoff@riosalado.edu. To start us out, just like we did last time, I am going to share a flyer, and we're going to talk about what classes do you need to take for this enrolled agent. So you can earn your certificate of completion in enrolled agent, and it will prepare you for national enrolled agent exam. And that I have Justin here from Glein, who is going to go over the software that we're using in our classes. But before we get to there, again, you need to take accounting 111 or 211 to prepare you, because that is a prerequisite for 111. But the core 3 classes that you need for a special enrolled agent exam or national enrolled agent exam is accounting 111, I'm sorry, accounting 121. And then the book we're using, let me see, I got them backwards. So this is the book. It's Glein Part 1, Individual Taxation. So it goes over individual taxation and will prepare you for that part of the exam. Then you're going to move on to tax accounting, accounting 221, and it's a little bit thicker book, but it's the same. The courses are all, you can have 8 weeks or you can have a 14-week calendar. Really depends on your learning style. But also here you go, it's the second part. So that's for accounting 221. And the last class is accounting 224. And then that's a smaller book. It's presentation practices and procedures. So you can represent your clients in front of IRS, and it goes all kinds of documentation and representation information here. In order to earn a certificate with Rio Salado, you're gonna need accounting 111 and 211, as I said. Before those 3 classes, you also need CIS 105 and also restricted elective as payroll management or accounting principles or computerized accounting. And that is 17 to 18 credits altogether. Again, some of you probably already have some of these credits. So if you have a question, email me. Again, it's lily.davidoff@riosalado.edu. I would be happy to answer any of your questions. And without further ado, I am going to introduce Justin here. Give me just a minute. Justin is a graduate from Florida University. Is that correct? And then let me see. Give me a minute. So Florida University, and he majored in family, youth, and community service. In his free time, he enjoys cooking, spending time with his wife, Ginny. He has 2 sons, Justin and Jackson, and also 2 dogs, Percy and Lady. He's a big fan of Florida Gators, St. Louis Cardinals, and Los Angeles Rams. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Dr. Davidoff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the screen share here. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time today. And my name is Justin Weiderman. I head our professor relations team here at Gleim, where we do exam prep for not only the enrolled agent designation, but also the certified public accountant, certified management accountant, and the certified internal auditor. And we do aviation prep too. I also happen to work with faculty and then students in the state of Arizona. And again, just want to thank everyone for having me here today, letting me tell you a little bit about Gleim and a little bit about the enrolled agent designation. I'm excited to continue working with Maricopa Community College District for their EA certificate programs. The EA designation, as Dr. Aka said, is a wonderful designation that's going to open a lot of doors for you professionally. All right, so what is the EA? Well, if you want to focus your accounting career on tax, you should look into becoming an EA or an enrolled agent. The EA designation is the only federal license for tax practitioners who specialize in taxation. An EA designation, that's going to grant you unlimited rights to represent taxpayers before the IRS. And as a nationally recognized tax expert, you're unbound by state limitations, and EAs are going to have the freedom to work at the top accounting firms, any tax office, or even their own tax practice. With job titles such as tax accountant, tax manager, or even staff accountant, EAs are viewed as America's tax experts. So as you can see from this chart here that's showing the different accounting designations, the EA is the only one that you can actually earn before you leave college, as there's no education requirement for licensure. So all you're going to have to do is study for, sit, and pass that 3-part exam, and you're going to have a license before you leave school. So some of the reasons to think about becoming an enrolled agent, with any license, you're going to have the opportunity to move forward, whether it's moving from tax preparer at H&R Block to an enrolled agent that oversees many tax preparers and is the one signing the returns, or even landing a tax position at a CPA firm, who do hire EAs, by the way, all the way up to the Big Four. I mean, we sell a lot of EA materials to PwC and Ernst & Young. Or eventually, you could just launch your own tax practice, which means you're working for yourself. Regardless, you're provided with, various paths to move your career forward. The enrolled agent is going to add years of experience to your resume. Without it, you would need significant experience in order to increase your pay. But passing the EA increases your average annual salary by as much as $7,000. Again, there's no barriers, no borders. It's a federal designation, so you can sign off on tax returns in any state. It's going to show that you're willing to invest in your professional development by taking that next step and getting licensed. Is really going to set you apart from your peers. And then finally, it's going to build confidence and knowledge. Many of the most successful EAs have been in the tax profession for years. Lots have, they have lots of knowledge, they have lots of experience, and many of them are going to own their own practice. However, it's an increasingly popular path for those looking for maybe a career switch or even starting out in their careers. At the end of the day, you can be your own boss, you can set your own hours, and you can expect to make more money. So again, what is the EA exam? Well, the EA exam, it's also known as the Special Enrollment Examination, or C, and it's the only federal license for tax practitioners. Again, it's going to grant the EAs unlimited rights to represent taxpayers before the IRS. Sorry about that. So, what's covered on that exam? Well, it's going to consist of 3 parts, as Lily mentioned. The first part is individuals, the second part is businesses, and then the third part is representation, practices, and procedures. Now, the parts can be taken in any order, although we recommend taking them in sequential order, beginning with part 1. Students taking an individual taxation class or Tax 1 or at Rio Salado ACC 121, or even those participating in VITA, they may find part 1 topics familiar, while Tax 2 course topics are going to be covered in the EA part 2, and again, that's covered in ACC 221 in the program. And then part 3 is going to cover tax laws, Circular 230, and ethics. And that's the material that they're using there in ACC 224. Now, the topics tested and their weights are shown here on this chart. And you can get a lot more information by downloading the Enrolled Agent Exam Guide at gleim.com/EA. There's that booklet's got a ton of information on the EA exam, a lot more than I can give you here in 20 or so minutes. So the EA exam, it only contains multiple choice questions, and there's 100 questions per part. And then recently they made a change where they broke those 100 questions into 2 50-question sections. And that means candidates will see the first 50 questions in section 1, and then they see the remaining 50 in section 2. It is important to note that once you leave a section, you can't return. So you would want to make sure you got all those answered before you moved forward. And because each part does have the same number and types of questions, the testing time for each of them is uniform at 3.5 hours per part. An optional 15-minute break is given after section 1. And then the EA exam, the Prometric Testing Center, they're not going to limit the amount of time that you spend on either section, but we recommend that you try to divide that time equally between the 2. And then finally, you're given 30 minutes for a tutorial on the Prometric software, and then a survey as well. Now, if you're using the Gleim EA Premium Review System, you're already going to be familiar with the Testing Center software, as we emulate it in our course better than anyone does. So you're going to be very comfortable on exam day. You're going to go in there and it's going to be just like you had been using that software for months and months as you prepared. Now, again, you should practice like you play. And so we do suggest taking your quizzes in a quiet environment like you would on exam day. And our review system sets, they actually come with masks as well due to all this COVID-19 that we're all dealing with. And we actually encourage you to wear those while you're studying, as you're going to have to wear those in the testing center. Now, the Gleim Test Bank is the largest test bank on the market. And this is very important, as you want to avoid memorizing answers to specific questions. Sort of gives you a false sense of security as to what you know and what you don't know. So a large test bank is really going to help with that. All right, so more on testing. So the testing fees are going to be about $182 per part. And recently, you're actually now able to take the EA exam at several international locations, including London, Tokyo, and Toronto, for any of you that are planning on traveling. You can sit for one part of the EA exam at any time during the testing window from May 1st to February 28th. The only exception there would be March or April, and that's when the window is closed, which is essentially when they're revamping the exam for the following year. And this exam does always test the previous year's tax laws. Now you will get a pass-fail when you're at Prometric, hopefully a pass, but you will know before you leave the testing center whether or not you pass-fail. They used to print them out and mail them, and now they're actually emailed to you. So you would want to try and pass all 3 parts of the exam within 1 year. Now you do have 2 years to pass the entire exam, but we recommend you try to get it done within a year. Now the timer for that 2-year clock, so to speak, begins after you pass your first part. And then, due to, again, COVID-19, some changes were made to that carryover period where they were doing some extensions. But unless you had already started taking those exams, probably won't apply to anyone in this group. Study schedules. The number of questions on the exam is uniform. But as Lily showed you, those books are definitely a different thickness. And so the content does vary per part. So the average recommended study time for part 1 is going to be 80 to 90 hours. And so there on that chart, we said 8 to 9 weeks. That's if you're studying 10 hours a week, which is the minimum that we would really recommend. If you have more time, you throw more time at it, you get done with them a little faster. 130 hours for part 2. And then part 3 is, I don't want to say a cakewalk, but after you take part 1 and 2, there's a lot of information in there that builds, that makes part 3 significantly easier than those first 2 parts. Again, the EA is the only designation you can complete while you're still in college due to no education or experience requirements to become licensed. So if you follow a study schedule like this, you can be certified before you enter the workforce. So developing a plan of action is critical. And you want to aim to pass those 3 parts in a year. So you want to study at least 10 hours a week. And fortunately, within the GLIME course, we have an interactive study planner. And basically how it works is the first time you log in, you're going to say, hey, this is my approximate exam date for part 1. And you tell the planner, if you have any blackout dates, maybe you don't want to study on your birthday or your anniversary or Valentine's Day. Then you tell it, how many hours you want to study on a Monday and on a Tuesday and on a Wednesday, so on and so forth. And then it's going to spit out a plan of action for you, showing where you should be in the course at all times so that you can see if you're ahead of schedule, if you're on schedule, if you're behind schedule. And you can even sign up for text message alerts as sort of a study buddy and a reminder to keep you on track. And then finally, figure out how you study best. Do you do better when you read everything and then take quizzes and then watch videos? That's how the adaptive course that we have would set you up to do. But maybe you like to read and watch all the videos and then you take quizzes. Point is, find what works best for you. And as a GLIME premium candidate, you're going to get access to a personal counselor. Personal counselors are not content experts, although we do have you covered there as well. But rather, they're experts in how best to use the GLIME adaptive course and the GLIME materials. And they've helped tens of thousands of candidates do it, whether it's for the EA exam or for any of the other exams that we offer materials for. They can help you formulate a study plan. They share study tips, and they can even help you get registered for the exam. And so, speaking of study tips, I'd like to go through, some of the common exam day tips that our personal counselors would like to share. Number 1, read every question and answer choice carefully. Remember, this is a standardized exam. And as such, there's questions that are really just intended to trick you. So we recommend starting with the sentence that's asking the actual question, which is usually the last one before you see answer choices. This is going to help you decide what information might not be relevant. And then again, you're going to want to look out for words that are intended to trip you up. And two of the common ones are negative, like except and like not. Number two, use a time management system. And the Gleim course is going to help you, sort of get into this frame of mind, as everything you do is timed in our course, just like you were sitting in the testing center. So remember that you have 250 multiple choice sections that need to be completed in 3.5 hours. So divide your time equally between the sections, and you want to allocate about 1.5 to 2 minutes per question, so that you don't get behind. And that's going to leave you more time at the end of the exam to go back and either review questions that you flagged, or review questions that you left blank, which isn't something we ever recommend doing. And the reason why is to never leave a question unanswered. And the reason for that is that they don't count against you if you get it wrong. So, there's no penalty for an incorrect answer. Another tip would be, ask yourself, what does the IRS want me to know? And try to use that thought process to take your best guess. And again, all the questions are multiple choice. So you have A, B, C, D answers, which means essentially you have a 25% chance of getting it right if you have no idea what the question is saying. Which sort of leads into number 4 here, which is, don't be afraid to make an educated guess. Use those thoughts of what the IRS wants you to know, and then take a stab at eliminating answers that are just obviously wrong, or have little or nothing to do with the question. Doing that is going to help you increase your chance when you're guessing from that 25% to 50%. And so if you've looked at a question for 2 minutes or more and you're still not sure, then just choose your best guess and move on. You can also flag it. We still recommend that you select an answer, and if you want to flag it and think about it later, then that's fine. But again, usually your gut's right. So whatever you think your first guess is, we usually would recommend just sticking with that. But again, if you have extra time at the end, then you can come back and review it later. And so, I went through a bunch of stuff here on the EA exam so far. And I mentioned, the Gleim system a few times, the premium review system, and exactly, what does that entail? Well, for starters, as we mentioned, it is important to have a very robust bank of multiple choice questions. And our system contains the largest and most realistic bank of exam quality questions on the market. We've been doing this since 1999. So we have a lot of experience and practice when it comes to writing the kinds of questions that you're going to see on the special enrollment examination or the EA exam. You do get access again to our team of personal counselors, and they're going to help with study plans, exam registration process. You do get access to our accounting experts who they can answer questions that maybe you don't understand a particular question, or you think maybe we're wrong. You can use our Ask Dr. Gleim feature when you're reviewing quizzes, and submit an inquiry, and we generally get back to you in about 1 to 2 business days. So we would encourage you to obviously move on, and we'll get back to you there in that 1 to 2 business day time frame. But luckily, as part of the EA certificate program at the colleges in Maricopa County, you also have faculty members there who can help you in this regard during the different classes that you're taking in the program. Next, we have an access until you pass guarantee, and it's really no frills. So you do get an initial 12 months of access, but if you need more time, you just contact a personal counselor. You show them that you're still eligible to sit for an exam or exams, and they will extend your access at no cost for 6 months at a time. And really, that's just as simple as taking a screenshot of your Prometric account and emailing them that screenshot, and they'll extend your access there for 6 months at a time. Now the hard copy books, we do get hard copy books as part of this package. And you are eligible to receive updated hard copy books when you're using the premium review system. And actually, we're getting ready to come out with new books here in a couple of weeks, and they are free. All we ask is that you cover the cost of shipping on those. And then finally, the system is built on our Smart Adapt platform. It's an adaptive course that we built specifically with accounting designations and the EA exam in mind. And it tells you what to study. And more importantly, it tells you when you're ready to sit for the exam. It starts every unit off with what we call a diagnostic quiz to start learning what you know and what you don't know. And we actually ask you to take that quiz blind. So before you looked at any of the material, watched any of the videos, read any of the outlines. And so after that DQ, that diagnostic quiz, it's going to take you through those digital outlines so that you can read those, or if you have the hard copy book, you can read that instead. And then it's going to, take you to what we call an adaptive multiple choice quiz, and you're going to take that quiz, and then it's going to send you maybe to the videos and say, hey, due to the questions you got wrong, we suggest that you watch the subunit 2 and 3 video on this study unit. So you're going to watch those, and it's going to send you back to the multiple choice quizzes again. You're going to take that, and then maybe it's going to say, hey, go read this section of the outline again, because we think you need to brush up there a little bit more. But at the end, when it feels that you've mastered the content in that study unit, it's going to tell you to move on. And then at the end, it's going to put you in what we call final review mode, where it's pulling questions from all the prior units, basically to make sure that you're not forgetting things that you saw maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago or a couple months ago. And then finally, we're going to provide you with a full-length mock EA exam with all brand new questions that you've never seen before to take about a week or so before you take the actual exam. And at the end of the day, if you put the time in, if you put the effort, the work in, you will be successful on these exams. This I just wanted to touch briefly on because I think it's important, especially if you're entering the program and you're learning. You want to learn and get an idea of how to take these standardized exams and the kinds of questions that you'll see on these. It's our GLIME EQE series. Getting a head start on your exam prep is important, and we can provide you with early practice while helping you with current college classes. Now, we offer a unique EQE book and test prep for 5 different areas: auditing, cost managerial, tax, financial, and business law. And they're all under $35 a book. You get the book and the test prep. The nice part about that is they're cross-referenced with all the popular textbooks that you use, in some of these classes. Like if you're taking intermediate accounting, for instance, and you're using a KESO book, it's cross-referenced. You'd know where to find questions in our book to help prepare for the units that you're covering in those books. So it is a good way to get early exam prep practice. So our campus rep program, we give you the chance to earn a full free review system of your choice by joining the GLIME campus rep program. As a campus rep, you'll not only receive free exam prep, but you'll also be able to network with professionals, learn about the exam process and content, and build your resume. If you do have interest in that, there are some ways to contact there on that slide, either by emailing campus.rep@glime.com, or you can even text campus rep to the number that you see there. And I do not believe we have one at Rio Salado right now. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for their time today on talking about GLIME and the EA exam. You can learn more about GLIME systems by visiting the website glime.com/students, which entitles you to student pricing. But if you're in ACC 121, 221, or 224, the pricing that you get there is actually better than anything that you'll find on the website. So I would be more than happy to answer questions now. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that I can actually see the chat here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Justin. The question first is that they have it for me. And it says, Accounting 121 final class does not have prerequisite. How will Rio's Accounting 121 will be different? And thank you, Anna, for asking that question. Yeah, 121 does not have prerequisite, but I suggest to take 111 or 211 financial accounting, just so it is easy for you to understand the world of accounting. How is 121 different at Rio from other community colleges? I don't know how other community colleges are teaching, but ours is taught based on blind software, and it kind of cuts in Elizabeth's question about, is it better to take all the courses requirements and then tackle the exam, or is the process at Rio kind of like tackling the class and then study for that part of the exam and taking it? So two questions kind of correlate together. So 121 is, as I said before, is online software, and it prepares you for that individual taxation. So you take this class, and Justin can explain a little bit further. So you take this class and it prepares you for that part. The enrolled agent exam consists of 3 parts. So that is the first part. So you take a class, you pass the class, and you go sit for that part of the exam. Justin, do you want to jump in and kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. You know, if you're going through and you're doing all the questions and taking, you know, 121, for instance, what we generally say is if you're scoring in the 70 to 75% range in the Gleim software, then you're likely ready to go sit for the exam. So that's really just sort of dependent on the rest of your, you know, your schedule for that semester. And you know, I mean, you got to have the time to do those things. You don't want to go sit for the exam if you're not prepared, because again, it's going to cost you $182 to take it every time. So.
Yeah, thank you. So answering your question, Anna, and the same, Elizabeth, your questions, that if you plan it correctly and you take an exam, and as Justin outlined, it's going to take 8 to 10 weeks, I suggest to take a 12-week course, because I'm sorry, 14-week course. We have a 14-week calendar and we have an 8-week calendar. 8-week, if you want to prep for exam, probably will be too much. I would take a 14-week and then concentrate on that and go sit for that part of the exam. And it's $180, right, Justin?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, and then take the next one, 221. And a 221 is a corporate, and it does exactly the same thing. It prepares you for the exam, but it's also part of the class. So you go through the class, you work in that software, and you earn credits for the class while you get prepared for that part of the exam. And the same thing with the next class, 224. To earn a certificate, you need to have accounting 111, accounting 112, and then CIS 105, and then you learn certificate from Rio. But to sit for the National Enrolled Agent exam, you only need these 3 classes. So I suggest to earn certificate, because why not? But if you want to just strictly concentrate on getting prepared, then you can just take those 3 classes and get past that exam.
And real quick, Dr. Davidoff, so I was mentioning the premium review system, and so at some of the other colleges in Maricopa, that's what's required. But at Rio, we require the book and the test bank, and then the recommended item is the premium. So, you know, just so there's not confusion over some of the benefits that I outlined, that's with the recommended item at Rio rather than the required item, which is our physical book, and actually it's our online book and our test bank. So. And I can answer more questions about that if anyone has any.
Yeah, please ask questions. We still have time. I specifically didn't schedule too many guest speakers here. But there's one more question, is what's the difference between this software and a WIDA software? I think it's completely different. The software prepares you for the National Enrolled Agent exam. WIDA helps you to prepare people's income taxes. So 2 different things. Good question, Anna. I'm glad you're asking questions. So these are some really, really good questions.
Can I chime in there too? So the VIDA software, and you do have to take a couple of exams depending on the level that you want to prepare as far as VIDA, the basic and the advanced tests. We actually do cross-reference the Part 1 EA materials with the basic and the advanced, the topics that you need to know on those tests. So.
All right, let me see. There are more questions, Q&A. Justin, do you want to look through them? I'm going to look through some.
So how does Gleim compare to Surgent? You know, I'm not really an expert on other people's review materials. What I can tell you is that Surgent's a fairly new company. We've been doing it far longer than anyone else, since 1999, and we've helped probably 10 times people pass than all of the other review providers combined. So so the proof is in the pudding there. You know, if you put the work in with Gleim, you're definitely going to pass. We don't publish pass rates, but when we do, internal surveys and things like that. I mean, our pass rate's north of 90%. So.
All right, so the next is there a benefit to taking this through Rio Salado rather than directly through Gleim? I think it is, because you earn college credits as well. You can work towards your certificate. Especially if you're already enrolled in other programs and you might have the needed classes, so you take 3 more, and it's that one is so I think it is better through Rio.
And you have faculty members to lean on, if you
Exactly.
have questions. So I mean, Gleim is self-study. So if you want someone that you can go to ask questions, especially if you don't have a ton of experience in the arena, then definitely a benefit.
Okay, so the next question is, I would look at entry-level EA jobs, but everyone seems to want quite a lot of experience doing tax return and using tax software. How does one get started? Does Rio Salado have access to employee opportunities? Don, if you email me, we can connect you with some firms. We had some people last week on the call. We're going to have some people next week. So I think if you go through this entire 4-week 1-hour trainings, we will make connections. But please send me the email, and then I'll try to send this out and say I have this very eager intern that would like to have a job on that opportunity to become some enrolled agent. All right, the next one is, I don't know if I missed this or not, but can you take an exam parts out of order? So can you take 1 and 3, and then 2 and 3, and then 1?
Yeah, you could take them out of order. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to take part 3 because it's the smallest and it's the least amount of information. And that's really the only thing that we recommend you don't do, is don't take that one first. Not because you can't do it without parts 1 and 2, but parts 1 and 2, there's so much information in there that's going to then help build 3 up, that makes 3 that much easier. You could take 1 and 2 in any order. Some people that deal with corporate clients all the time, they're going to take part 2 first. But really it's really just the order that you're taking the classes, and really a preference thing. So the only advice is take part 1 or 2 first, and then take part 3 last.
Thank you. And I'm going to allow Salih to talk. I hope I'm going to say your name correctly. So I'm going to allow you to talk. So go ahead and ask your question. Salih, you have a permission to talk. You raised your hand. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Now I am studying income tax fundamental at community college. What about this to help me?
So for what I understand, Salih, you're saying that you are studying income tax fundamentals with community college. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that, I don't know what class it is. I know that
Preparing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is for preparing.
Okay. So accounting 121 probably would correlate with that. But like I said, our class is based on the Gleim software. So we teach you in that and prepare you for that part of the Gleim. So that's how it would be different. Did I answer your question?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So the next question we have is, what is the cost for books and classes? Justin, do you want to talk a little bit about what's the difference, requirements? We'll talk a little bit.
Sure. So for part 1, the books themselves, so the required item is book in the test bank, and that's $80. If you did the premium review system for that with access until you pass, it's $175. For part 2, it is, I believe, $115 for the required book and test bank. It's $220 for the premium review. And then for part 3, it is $60 for the required book and test bank, and $105 for the premium. But if you are serious about taking the EA exam, you are in the certificate program, then you can actually do the entire set premium, which is usually about $630. We give it to you for $348. It's free shipping, access until you pass. And that is the best deal that we give anyone anywhere. So it's $348 to do all 3 of them premium out the door. As far as the class goes, that's not my arena.
I can address that. It really depends if you're in-state or out-of-state student. again, send me the email and I'll forward your email over to our advisors. They can reach out to you. There is a $15 registration fee per semester, but answering the class cost, it'll be hard for me because, again, it depends on if you're in-state or out-of-state student. So please reach out to me with those questions. Those are really good questions. Please ask us more questions. I think we answered all the questions that we have. If you want to talk, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll give you permission to talk. Demiris has a question, Justin. So I already have the accounting and CIS credits. Would I still be able to do it Rio? And how can I go ahead about it? So Demiris, you can still, it depends, okay? You need to email me and then email me your transcripts. I'll look at it and I'll see which classes you already took. So if you took accounting 121 at another college, I can still count it, but then you can study on your own for GLINE, you know, for the exam. But if you took accounting 121 or I'm sorry, 111 or 112 or 212 with others, that's perfect. And in CIS 105, that's perfect. Maybe you only need 3 classes, which is going to prepare you for enrolled agent. You can then pass the exam and earn your certificate as well, which is win-win. So great question. All right, another one that is a great deal. It's basically cost is 200. The basic book cost is $255. If I did the math correctly, is that correct, Justin?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, those are my accounting students. They keep tapping their head. Good job, guys. All right. So, any other questions? Nope. So please send your email in the Q&A. We only got 5 emails. Remember, you get a chance to win a gift card. And so you want the gift card, you can use that gift card towards the book, because I'm thinking it's going to be Visa gift card. So I can't make any promises, but you know, maybe that would be it. So it's a great program. So go ahead and send us your emails into here. Okay, so so Anna says, thank you. This is exciting. And Don says, thank you very much. So guys, go ahead and send more questions. Justin is here. We have him until 5, so he can answer your questions till 5. But in the meantime, if you driving home today and you're thinking, oh, I should have asked him that question, email me or email him, and then he will be, and I'll forward the email to him. So, all right. So go ahead. I'm going to stay on. Thank you so much, Justin, for all your time. We really appreciate our partnership. We cannot wish for a better partner. Thank you for all you do for our students. Before you go, if you can pull up that slide where you have the campus ambassador or students, and then talk a little bit more about that program, because I just attended the workshop. And this is actually a great program to get a leadership experience. You can put it on your resume. As you see, some people are challenging you and saying, hey, have you have any experience? And you can put that on your resume as an experience. It also gives you an access, you know, for some people, $250 is quite a money, and then it's hard to come up with. But if you do that, you get free exam reviews and materials. So it's great for single parents and get for people who just eager to learn and eager to do things. So Justin, can you talk a little bit more about this program? Because I was excited when I saw it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you said $250, but I mean, really, they could use it for any of the systems that we do, which goes up to our $2,000 CPA system, or the $630 EA system, or any of the ones between. And going back to your point about experience, I have heard from, and this is just who I've heard from, you know, we do when we used to do conferences pre-COVID, we would regularly have campus reps join us and, you know, help us man a booth. And I've talked to 3 different students who got jobs because of their GLIME campus rep on their resume, because the firm partners and things use GLIME for CPA or CMA or EA or whatever. So definitely an experience builder there and something to put on your resume. You know, we do these exit videos with them, and so many of the campus reps say what a rewarding experience it was. Helps them come out of their shell. You know, they didn't know a lot of their peers, and it was a way to you know, to basically force them to go talk to folks and tell them about GLIME. You can do it in 2 semesters. It's really not difficult. We don't ask a ton from you. You know, you have some some items that are required and then some that are, you know, optional. But things like joining an accounting club meeting and giving a presentation on the different exams and GLIME, you know, that's 20 minutes of your time. Holding a focus group, you know, with 5 or 6 students where you're getting them to create an account with GLIME and sort of walking them through the materials. We give all the campus reps our GLIME EQE series, which I showed on the prior screen here. So all the campus reps get that as well up front. And yeah, I mean, you know, there's a bunch of different tasks that you can choose from. Social media things. So if any of you are active on social media, that's a real easy way to earn points, but again, not very difficult, and can be very rewarding, not just, you know, financially with getting free materials, but really professionally as well.
All right, perfect. So some people missed my answer to a question about getting a job. Like I said, get enrolled with that program on the GLIME with GLIME and then become a campus representative. That's a great start. Put it on your resume. But if you're ready, email me. I'll connect you with some contacts. Also attend the next 2 workshops, and you will hear from next week. We have National Association of Enrolled Agents are joining us, and they'll tell you there's a whole association in there that you can be part of. Think we quick, did we miss this? So I already have classes, so I answered that. Do we have any more questions, Justin? Do you see any other questions sitting?
I did not, no.
All right, guys. So we are going to take more questions, but if you don't have any questions, this is all we have, or I don't see any hands raised in the audience. This is all we have for today. Thank you so much. We'll stay on for 5 more minutes just to make sure that we get all the questions. Put your email in the Q&A, so you have your email in the box, and then you need to do it all 4 times in order for us to draw your name. So other than that, have a great evening, and I'll see you next Wednesday. We'll hear from National Society of Enrolled Agents. Justin and I will stay for a few more minutes just in case if you have questions. Other than that, have a great night.
What's the 4th workshop?
The 4th workshop is a career and enrolled agent. So we're going to have somebody talking about different careers paths and as an enrolled agent.
Nice.
All right. No questions. Thank you, Justin, so much. We appreciate your time, appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. I appreciate